Hey, hi, howdy, Derek Parker, DP here. It is 12:15 p.m. on Sunday, June 15th, and we have trades. We are in the middle of the NBA Finals, which I got back from Indiana late yesterday, woke up to play tennis this morning, had league tennis, and in the midst of league tennis, of course a trade goes down. It is Desmond Bane to the Magic as the general framework, but honestly I haven't got to really dive into it too much. I just took kind of a face value glance, and now I'm here at home. I'm going to react to it, and then I also saw that it is going to shake up the draft. I saw number 16 is on its way to Memphis with some future enticing picks as well, so we'll talk through that, options for the Grizzlies at number 16 here, just a general reaction as a whole. The first thing we'll do is just pull up the original Shams tweet. Got 21,000 retweets, 34,000 likes. Breaking: the Memphis Grizzlies are trading Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for KCP, Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and 1 first-round pick swap. Sources tell ESPN. I mean, immediate reactions. Obviously a great haul for the Grizzlies. 4 firsts and 1 swap is a whole bunch for Desmond Bane. I'm probably not as high on KCP and Cole Anthony as others are. I know a lot of people are throwing around that, well, the Grizzlies are getting contributors here. I don't know that that's necessarily the case at a high level. KCP's got to be at least 32, 33 at this point. Didn't have a great season. Don't know how much impact he's going to really have, especially in that Grizzlies core. And then Cole Anthony, I feel a little bit similarly about. Good guard option, good scorer, but is he a piece? I don't really think so. So the centerpiece, obviously, for the Grizzlies is the pick haul, which is substantial, I will say. And then the Magic get Desmond Bane. Now, I am a Desmond Bane guy, 100%. He was one of my guys at the draft. I didn't cover, obviously, as closely as I do now. I remember liking Desmond Bane a lot. Now, I will say, this is a phenomenal fit for the Magic. Desmond Bane is the perfect guy. Is it a bit of an overpay? Sure. But to go get what is probably the perfect piece for this squad in terms of volume shooter, no drop-off defensively from KCP, to my mind at least, and then a guy who can play make as well for a team that doesn't necessarily have a true point guard, but now at this point I don't think necessarily needs one now that they have facilitators in Suggs and Bane at both the backcourt spots. It's a good fit. I mean, obviously, you look at the three-point volume. He is a career 41% three-point shooter on over 6 attempts per game. That's blistering stuff. In my last mock draft, you can go and look. I had the Magic trading up 210 for Con Knipple, and Desmond Bane is a kind of somewhat of a high-end outcome for Con Knipple. So I think this archetype works perfectly for the Magic. It's a great piece, picks aside. Now, you can't ignore the picks. 4 is a whole bunch. There's some really good ones in here. Orlando is sending to Memphis the number 16 pick at the 2025 draft, which we'll cover here in depth here in a minute. Phoenix's first round pick in 2026, which this one's convoluted. I'm not going to get into all of it. It's boring. I don't care. But just know that's a good pick. That's probably going to be a lottery pick no matter what, and it could be even better than that. This is a weird way to phrase it. Magic 2028 unprotected first, and Orlando's same team. Don't know why he switched up there, but 2028 and 2030 unprotected first as well. Pick swap lightly protected in 2029. I don't think those Magic picks will probably be anything crazy. I think Paolo is a great floor raiser. I think they are well positioned in the East to at least contend for the top 5 spots or so from here on out. So those probably won't be anything more than at least a mid-first. But still, 3 first-round picks that you can kind of use to work your way around is never a bad thing. But the biggest part of this video is going to be this right here. Tankathon's quick. They've already got the Grizz. They're picking at number 16. It's a really interesting pick. It's just a super interesting range to be in, given that I think there's kind of a set 5 to 7 up top right now. And then it flattens out, and I don't know that it stops flattening until there. There's so many prospects that could fall to 16 that would entice me as a Grizzlies fan, as a Grizzlies front office member right now. If you go down the list, flag obviously Harper, Bailey, Edgecombe, Knipple, Malawach, Trey Johnson. Derek Queen's not completely off the table at 16. Obviously, he's talented enough that he'll probably go higher. A lot of people seem to be keen on his combination of passing, scoring, general skill-based big man stuff, but he's also a little bit of a scary archetype, so not completely out of the question. Fears I would anticipate to be gone. Yaku Chonis gone. Jace Richardson fully on the table there. Colin Murray-Boyles on the table there. Esenge I would anticipate to be gone. Carter Bryant I would anticipate to be gone. And then you've got this range where I really think you kind of start to see these options that they'll have. Yegor Demon, Asa Newell, Thomas Sorber, Rasheer Fleming, Neat Clifford, Cedric Coward. Some of those guys will be on the table for the Grizzlies at number 16. And I think they're pretty tantalizing in terms of both upside and guys that could offer maybe some win now attributes. Let's just go down the list here and check out the Grizzlies roster before we jump into specifics at 16. Maybe try to find a better idea of what they value, what they want. John Morant, obviously your centerpiece of the future, still point guard, athleticism based, really good facilitator, 7.3 assists per game last year. He needs to refine that consistency that he played with a few seasons ago. He's dealt with some injuries and obviously other things, we'll say, but I mean, he's still a guard that seems to have a lot left in the tank in terms of impact. I think I continue to trust him as one of the better players in this league moving forward, but certainly not a player that's like completely untouchable. Jaren Jackson Jr. at power forward / small ball center, played in 74 games. I believe he was an all-star, don't quote me, but second leading scorer on the team, 22 points per game. Former DPOY. I think there is maybe some question about just how impactful these 22 points per game were, but regardless of just the scoring, I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a two-way force, a great player, a phenomenal piece to have on your team. Now, I believe he is in for a payday, which changes things some, but really good player regardless there. Desmond Bane obviously is now gone. Santi Aldama, a great forward, decent little piece there to have, kind of fills up the stat sheet, 12.5 points, 6.4 rebounds, 2.9 assists. Jalen Wells, phenomenal rookie wing, blew my socks off this year, played in 79 games. Wells scored in double figures as a rookie, and I mean, to my mind, did it pretty efficiently. 43%, 35% from three on a high volume. Got some rebounds, dished some assists. 1.7 on the wing there is pretty solid. Wells is a great piece, probably your 3 moving forward. Scottie Pippen Jr., another great guard piece, probably more of a 6-man role. I got to watch the Grizzlies play the Thunder in the first round this year, watched all 4 games. Pippen Jr. shocked me, man. I think he averaged somewhere in the realm of 19 points per game. He was handling the rock, getting buckets, defending. He was doing everything, like him as a piece. Zach Edey's your center. Took him 9th overall last year, so I'm sure they're still in on him. Decent first season, 9.2 points, 8.3 rebounds, an assist per game, a block per game. Not necessarily my favorite piece on this team, but I get it. I mean, he's your guy moving forward. So, and then now you've got Cole Anthony, KCP, Brandon Clark still there, Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard, Cam Spencer, Lamar Stevens, Vince Williams Jr. I mean, this is a hefty roster made up of a lot of pieces, but not necessarily ones that are like S tier, going to go win you 50 games in the West. So I think they've got a little bit of flexibility in what they add. Obviously, you probably don't want to add a point guard with the number 16 pick. You probably don't want to add a true center, given that you just swung on Edey. But I think the Grizzlies now obviously have flexibility in adding a 2-guard with Bane gone. You could add another wing. You could add maybe a bigger forward. I like some of that middling ground. Let's start with Colin Murray-Boyles, because I think that's a really fun option there at number 16. I think there's a chance he'll be there. He's kind of a player that organizations are either going to love, have him really high on boards, or probably be a little bit out on, given that he's a 6'7" big, doesn't have a lot of 3-point shooting, maybe a little bit more of a traditional scoring style, but just so impactful. One of the better defenders in this entire class, a true like 2 through 5 potential guy. He can put the ball on the floor in moderation. He's got funk passing it. You can give him the rock, let him go get a bucket. Uber strong. And while you probably couldn't start him alongside both Jaren Jackson Jr. and Edey, minutes with just him and Jaren Jackson Jr. playing small ball 5 would be really cool, because obviously CMB can't necessarily stretch the floor right now, but Jaren Jackson Jr. can. That gives you a ton of defensive versatility between those two. You could use CMB as like a high post hub playmaker with those guards cutting off of him. That'd be a really fun option, one I think Memphis will consider. We'll touch on Carter Bryant just because I guess there is a chance he could be there at 16. Again, I don't necessarily see him getting past that 10 to 14 range. Maybe there's a little bit of flexibility though, now that you have those 5 picks that you've added to trade up. Again, lengthy wing, projects to do a lot of 3-and-D type stuff. One of the best and toolsiest defenders in this class. Gets after it on that end of the floor, and then obviously adds a fluid 3-point stroke, decent rim efficiency, and to my eye at least a little bit more feel than your typical 3-and-D wing, so I think he's a fun option. Yegor Demon is an interesting option. Teams reportedly like him higher than this. I don't know that that'll necessarily be the case. I think certainly he could go in that like 8 to 14 range, but also if teams just get dead set on swinging on someone else, he's a player that could fall just due to the kind of volatility of these jumbo guards that don't have a lot of athleticism, but have that skill and feel. Probably the best passer in the entire class. While he probably wouldn't like actually play point guard for the Grizzlies, obviously, given that they've got those options, I do think Yegor Demon, I said it in my scouting report, you can go watch that, I think he can play a connective forward role. I think he'll get better at defense. I think he projects to be able to get better at shooting the ball. Is he going to be great? No. But you can play him in kind of that rangy wing role where he can play make, do a lot of different things, go get your rebounds, all sorts of stuff. So probably not my top option for the Grizzlies, but he may be there. He may be best player available. So Asa Newell's very interesting. I don't know that he'd be the forward I would necessarily swing on, given they have most of their front court shored up, and Asa's a little bit of a tweener. I just don't know that I see him fitting in the gaps between Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, Santi Aldama, so McNeely is likely to be there. I understand the thought process on adding McNeely to the Grizzlies in terms of him being able to come in, provide a 3-point shooting boost, some connective attributes on the wing, but just not my favorite wing prospect in this draft in general. Rasheer Fleming's interesting. 6'9" with that obviously 7'5" wingspan that is now confirmed. He can hit threes. He can get to the rim with efficiency. He's a defensive playmaker. Not a lot of creativity to his game, but for a team like the Grizzlies that do have some creative ball handlers in Ja and Pippen Jr., Fleming makes some sense as like a play finisher, just a versatile forward who could fill out that rotation and maybe provide a little bit of overlap between what he and Jaren Jackson Jr. do in terms of like archetype. Nate Clifford's a really, really fun option. Probably one I would most consider at number 16. I think I'm going to have him at number 16 on my board. I made that the other day. I think that's where I have him. He was a super senior at Colorado State, but just absolutely stuffed the stat sheet. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal per game. He went from playing off-ball wing in his early collegiate career, basically to becoming the guy later and doing it well. Like, I mean, he went from role player to offensive supernova in a matter of years. And I think that's important given that his role in the NBA will probably be similar early to his early years in college, where he was doing things off the ball, cutting, getting out in transition, defending at a high level. But he'll probably always have at least some of that versatility that he honed at CSU in terms of functioning in the pick and roll. Maybe he can go get you some ISO buckets every once in a while. He'll be able to shoot on or off ball. And for a team like the Grizzlies, who seem to kind of have that starting lineup still built out despite not knowing who's where, Clifford could come in and just do so many different things. I mean, if you need a lead guard option, sometimes he could do that. If you need him as a 2 who's slashing and shooting, he could do that. If you need him as a wing, he's one of the best wing rebounders in this entire class. Just a super, super versatile piece for a team that I think could stand to use just some general versatility. Last guy I'll touch on is Washington State wing Cedric Coward. 6'6" without shoes. He's got a 7'2" wingspan. Obviously, he suffered the labrum injury, only played 6 games at Washington State. So there's some concerns about his talent level, what he's played so far. But he's got all the tools available to him. Rangy, he comes with 3-point shooting built in, which I think the Grizzlies value. Stands to get better as a defender. Probably not perfect right now, especially on ball, but is likely going to get a lot better at that. The issue with Coward is his range right now just feels so polarizing. He feels like a player who could go 9, 10, 11, or maybe all this pre-draft stuff has been a little bit of smoke, and he actually will be there at 16. So I don't know that he'll be there, but if he is, he's a player that I could really see the Grizzlies gambling on. So again, I mean, the trade happened mere hours ago. This is pretty off the cuff, but these are the 3 I would probably most consider for the Grizzlies at number 16. Clifford, I would expect to be there at number 16. Cedric Coward, there is a chance a team in the late lotto pulls the trigger. Maybe Trailblazers, Hawks, Spurs. There's a chance he goes. And then Colin Murray-Boyles, you just don't know at all with him. Like, there's a team that could value him 5th. There's a team that could value him 35th. We don't know with him. So I would guess the like median range on CMB would be 16. So I think he could be an option here as well. Either way, even if two of these guys go higher, the Grizzlies get another player that just gets pushed down lower and lower. So they're going to get some talent, I think, at number 16. Clifford as a do-it-all wing is probably the most intriguing. Coward as kind of a developmental wing who maybe at his peak could add some similar things that Desmond Bane did, but with a little more length, defensive versatility. And then CMB is just like a highly, highly interesting player in general. Jack of all trades, combo forward that can't shoot, but does so many other things well. Just a playmaker on both ends of the floor, a guy who doesn't make a ton of mistakes, and I think is going to provide overall impact. But again, the Grizzlies are going to have options, both within the draft, picking at number 16, trading up, maybe trading back a little bit, getting even more value, or packaging all the assets they got in the Bane trade and going and making another win now move. Like, they're a team that probably desires to win basketball games right now. They're an interesting organization. I like that they took advantage of how highly the Magic valued Desmond Bane and jumped on that. And even though the Grizzlies probably valued him too, they couldn't pass up 5 picks and a few players. I value an organization that rolls the dice. That's it. That's my initial thoughts to the Desmond Bane Magic Grizzlies trade. I'm sure I'll have more in the coming days, and I'm also sure that I'll have more thoughts on number 16, what they can do with it, how those future picks affect the Grizzlies, and more. I'll have, I think, one more heat check for the entire cycle coming out. I'll give you a hint. It was one of the 3 players that I liked for the Grizzlies. I've already got 2 up, so by process of elimination, you should be able to figure that out. I'll probably do another live mock. I don't think I have time to do a written out mock. And then I've got my big board. And after that, we'll probably be at the 2025 NBA draft. It is 10 days, 6 hours, 6 minutes, and 7 seconds away as of right now. Obviously, for you, the viewer, it's a little bit closer, at least. So yeah, that's it. Peace.